We are joined now by our friend Tudor Dixon from Michigan. I was with her about 10 days ago or so up at Mackinac Island, one of the most beautiful places in the entire United States, northern Michigan in general, especially in the summer and the fall. I'm not a cold weather guy. Some of you are. Is one of the most spectacular places in the nation. I would never have heard about it if I hadn't gotten married to my wife, Laura, who is a Michigander. Tudor, you went to the University of Kentucky, I believe. Condolences on the fact that they basically have no football program anymore. But you have been in Michigan for some time now as well. It's fun to hang out with you. For people who don't know about northern Michigan, what would you tell them?
I mean, you have summed it up very nicely. It is beautiful. I think what people don't know about Michigan in general is that we have these gorgeous beaches. I've said to people, we have these amazing beaches, and they're like, you're crazy. You're nowhere near the ocean. But if you have never seen the Great Lakes before, Lake Michigan is incredible. If you go up to northern Michigan, we have lakes up there. Torch Lake is just incredible. It's like the Caribbean. It's bright green. It's very clear. It's just unreal that this actually exists in the northern part of the country. And the weather in the summer is gorgeous, but this is the time. I was in Mackinac last weekend with you, but this past weekend we went to the Upper Peninsula, and we went traveling through the Upper Peninsula, met with the Turning Point group up at Northern Michigan University. It is just gorgeous up there. Gorgeous.
For people, I said this when we talked to the group up there, and they were awesome, and it was fantastic to meet so many people at the event at Mackinac Island that we did. Michigan, I would argue, is maybe the number one battleground now in America. And I know a lot of people talk about Pennsylvania, but if you look at the Senate races that are coming up, if you look at the governor's race that is coming up, and obviously as we look ahead already to 2028, whoever wins Michigan is going to be the next president of the United States in 2028. How are things looking for Republicans on the ground? What should all of the people in Michigan listening to us right now know and or do, Tudor?
Well, I think the point that you're making is very key. Michigan is absolutely the number one battleground state, and that means that whether it is a Republican that wins or a Democrat that wins, there is the potential in any of these seats for them to one day become more powerful in Washington, D.C. We've had a history of sending Democrats to Washington, D.C. You know, Jennifer Granholm was the governor of Michigan. She became the energy secretary. You know, Pete Buttigieg is a Traverse City resident. He was transportation secretary. You do not want to continue to make these radical Democrats famous in Washington, D.C., or heaven forbid, give them more power. And so that's why I want people to think about these seats that are open in Michigan right now. Whether it is the governor's race or the Senate race, we've got Mike Rogers running in the Senate. That is a key seat. We have to take that back. It's an open seat right now, which is very important because that means we on the Republican side, the president has come out and endorsed Mike Rogers. He is the candidate. On the Democrat side, they have a three-way primary. They are really going to struggle with money, and they're going to batter each other up by the time they get to that general. So if you can come out and support Mike Rogers, that is critical right now. This is a seat that we can win in the Senate that we didn't have before. Our congressional seats are just as important. We're looking at the 10th district to see who's going to step in there, but we've got Tom Barrett, who is an amazing guy. He's going to be fighting. He's a freshman this term. He's going to be fighting to keep his seat. And I want to say he's really, really focused on the American people. When he had constituents that were stuck in a prison in Mexico, he flew there and got them out. When I needed help with a friend who had adopted a special needs child out of Africa and couldn't get her home, he immediately stepped in and helped. Those are the kinds of people that you want to have going to Washington. In Michigan, we have great Republicans. Our Democrats are insane. Do not let this happen. If you are from outside of the state, please, we don't have a lot of resources here financially. Please help out the people of Michigan to win these races because they are so critical.
We're talking to Tudor Dixon. She's a part of the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. You can hear her show every single day and out there every single week for sure. what do you see in terms of culture impact? I know you've got, I think it's four daughters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I was talking earlier about the American Eagle Sydney Sweeney jeans campaign. There's a big article in the Wall Street Journal about the fact that they added 1 million customers, and that the jeans all got sold out. I think you've got a couple of teenage girls, if I'm not mistaken. What do you think of the culture that surrounds them on a day-to-day basis? And do you feel like we are punching back and winning as a mom, or how do you see things playing out where you are in Michigan?
I totally feel like we're punching back and winning. We've been huge fans of American Eagle for a long time, and I'll tell you, it is mostly because they carry short jeans, and we're very short people. So that was great when the girls were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the popular brand, and we already buy it," But also just to recognize that it's okay to be feminine. It's okay to look at someone and say that's the kind of person I want to be. I want to look good. It's okay to want to look good, and teenagers want to look good. So that's okay to continue to promote that. But also I think that we are punching back when it comes to family values, and that's something that obviously in the past few weeks we've seen so many people come out and honor the work that Charlie Kirk did. But really, what I see them out of everything that he talked about, what I see them really like globbing onto is that idea that you can get married, you can have a family, you can have those traditional family values, and that's a good thing. That's really what drives the country, what builds the country. And going to talk to the Turning Point kids was really powerful, because the change that we've seen from the millennial generation to this next generation, when you go from millennials to Gen Z is very conservative. And this chapter in Northern Michigan is a pretty, it's in Marquette, it's a pretty liberal university. And they said they just ended up with a whole new chapter come in, 220 members, and they're up against it. They said they put out a table on their campus, and they had people coming by and screaming, "You're fascist, you're fascist." In the meantime, other people are just standing in line signing up. So people are not so timid anymore. I think that's what we're seeing in this newest generation, is that they want to say, you know what? I want to meet someone young. I want to have a legacy, and that's in children. I want to have kids. I want to honor those traditional American values. But the interesting part is that the professors haven't let this go yet. So this kid that started this chapter up in Northern Michigan, he put out his table, and one of the professors came and poured coffee on him. That's what we're fighting, and this generation is standing up against it. So if you can punch back against your professors and their radical ideology, I think we're winning them over. We're winning the next generation over.
I mentioned that you had girls. I've got boys. Boys in particular, and I see this through the young men that I have in my own family that we're raising, are kind of over what I would call the BS. My wife, Laura, has said, and I wrote about this some in the new book that I've got coming out, that she thinks a lot of young women are going to follow the young boys because they're going to get exposed to the ideas that they have, and candidly, they're going to date. To your point, some of them are going to grow up and get married together. How much of that do you buy into? Because you've got the young girls. Do you feel like that's happening in their culture in many ways, as it has already happened? We've seen it happen with young boys.
I think so, because we're in a slightly different situation. Our girls are in Christian school, but I think the reason I think that is because the Christian schools are just exploding. There's just so much growth in our Christian schools. They're having to expand. I'm actually looking at my kids' school right now as they take over the entire field to build a new building, because there's so many parents who have chosen that Christian lifestyle over the public schools. But even the public schools, a lot of the kids in our area are going into church. The young men are going to church like they haven't before, and they're attending youth group. And I do think that there is this permission again for girls to say, okay, I want to have a career, I want to get married, but there's going to be times when I want a boy to open the door for me and to love me and to respect me, and that's not weakness on his end, and that's not weakness on my end. And that's something that is going to really be hard to pull back from what my generation did and what my mom's generation did, where women were told, don't let men honor you or love you or hold you up on a pedestal because you should be equal. Well, sometimes you want your husband to say, I've got you. I'm going to take care of you. And there are days when your husband's also going to need you to take care of him. You need a partner. It's okay to say you have a partner who adores you. You should be adored.
Amen. And I appreciate you, Tudor, and we adore your podcast, being a part of the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. And for people out there who don't know how to find it, give them a shout out and let them know what you talk about on a daily basis.
Yeah, check it out. You can find it on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. This Friday, we'll have a new episode with Congressman Tim Burchett. He's awesome. He's talking about what's going on in Washington, D.C., but we also go through Memphis and the importance of making sure we got these National Guard members out there helping to take care of some of this crime. Crime is such an issue in the United States, and he is no nonsense, and he's funny, so you should tune in.
Outstanding stuff. Tudor Dixon, go follow her on social media. Check out the podcast network. And Tudor, it was great to see you up in Michigan. Hope to have you on again soon.
Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Want to tell you about the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. This coming weekend, Americans nationwide will be showing their support for Israel on the eve of the second anniversary of October 7th, often referred to as Israel's 9/11. That's the day 1,200 Israelis were brutally murdered, 250 more taken hostage by Hamas terrorists. On Sunday, you can be part of a movement called Flags of Fellowship, which is organized by the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Millions of Americans across the country will plant an Israeli flag in honor and solidarity with the victims of October 7th. You can also donate a flag. Make a statement. Join the Flags of Fellowship movement. Visit the fellowship online at ifcj.org to find out how you can stand with Israel. That's ifcj.org.
The best antidote to wokeness?
The Clay and Buck Show. Like, subscribe, and share.